Here's my Gekko guide on Abyss. I'm going to talk about defense on B first. So generally on B, I usually play over here. And then sometimes I'll also play backside, very situationally. And then situationally as well, I'll sometimes go aggressive, either with teammates, without teammates, by either create a trap play or just flank or something, right? I'll talk about my normal play first, which is usually down here. And it's usually because it's because I have a lot of util to throw from this area. So the main dizzy from here is this one. You don't want to jump when you're doing this one, because usually you will jump when you do these straight up throws. But this one you don't want to jump. And the reason why you don't want to jump is because this will get in the way. And as you can see, even without me with me not jumping, you can see like at the end of the dizzy, it does get in the way. But it will detonate like this, and we'll see everything you need to see. The max range is for dizzy is 45 meters, so it is within range as well. The other dizzy I have as well from here is one that is basically a cross sight. And this one basically is just to add pressure for when they actually are executing the sight, because it's just another thing they have to worry about. And this can help you get a kill potentially, especially if it goes off as well. Help you get a kill, help you get some sort of info. Maybe there's someone still nest, and then that will give you that info. Or maybe it's going to help this player get a kill, an additional kill, because of the pressure it's going to give, because it's going to force someone down here to shoot the dizzy and miss the trade of their teammate over here. Like, that is like the gist of what you want to do to kind of help your teammate on site. You can also do a wingman as well, like this. This one is definitely more going to help you if they try and walk up close to you like this. This wingman will find them. And also as well, if it does detonate like in your vision, like the wingman like starts to run at someone in your vision, you can use it to try and wallbang them, because he'll kind of run in like a straight line towards them. So you can use it to like get a good wallbang potential on them. It also goes as well, you can also ping this. A lot of the time on Abyss, people will like jump across here. And if you can just ping this and then wallbang it, it's really good. You're going to get some decent chip damage from time to time. You may even get a kill, which is really good. Then we talk about, well, we're going to talk about this wingman. And that's the only wingman I have from this position. Then we're going to talk about the moshes. And moshes can be, actually there is a dizzy, one more dizzy, which is really bad. I don't really like this dizzy. It bends off the wall like this, but it's not very good. The reason why, I've never seen this before. Well, that's another reason. Another reason added to the list of why you probably shouldn't do this dizzy. But the other reason why you don't want to do this dizzy is that if you get shot, it will land on top of here or land here, which are not really that retrievable. So yeah, and also this is definitely not retrievable. So yeah, I wouldn't do this one. If you've seen anyone do that one, I would tell them to stop, or just like tell them maybe don't do that. Next is the moshes, and there's a mosh you can do over here to stop them from jumping across. The other moshes as well, which I don't think many people know about, is you basically want to run and jump and knock it off like these walls basically. I actually want this one quite high, so this one will like bounce off this sort of square, like this rectangle, right? And usually I want it quite high, because it goes a bit deeper into the choke point. And the reason why I throw this one is because when the enemy team have like one-off ults, especially ults that are like more aggressive early on in the round, like a Phoenix ult for instance, they want to try and get this orb early and take space early. That's if I assume that's what they want to do, I will throw this orb. I'll throw this mosh, because what it will do is it will stop them from doing it so early that I can't call my teammates over to help. And we might even get like 3 people on site to help nullify what they want to do if I like delay them with this mosh. Basically, it's the reason why I do that. So I don't wait for them to take the orb, because it won't land in time. So instead I throw it preemptively, like at the start of the round. So then it will land basically as they try to take the orb. Next is this one. So we're bouncing it off like this sort of area here on the wall. These are all very general. Okay, I threw that one a bit wrong, but it ended up kind of being in the right position anyway. Basically what he wanted to do is he wanted to land here, and it just stops people from crossing over here. And the reason why that's important is because we want to time it in a way that it gets the person, like one person will go across and the rest won't. So then if anyone's taking any fights over here, like your teammate's taking a fight back here, they can get a kill, run back and not be traded, because the second player won't be there, because they'll be behind the molly. It's not perfect because they can go up heaven, but for the most part this should be, like in my experience, it's good enough, because very rarely do people take the pathing of going up here to just drop down and try and trade with the person down here. Usually the people up here are spending a lot of time up here, like on these angles, so they don't really ever path that way to try and trade their teammate. So this mod is actually quite effective for that. The last one over here as well is we want to try and bounce off this pipe, which means we kind of need to jump through it, like next to the pipe basically. And as you can see, it lands here, and it just stops people from coming in this way. once again, the same sort of timing thing where we want to get one person in the site on this side of the molly, and then the rest people behind them, or behind the molly, so that we can get this isolated kill. It's also good when paired with this wingman, which I've shown, where, okay, not that one, but this one, where one person will, they're not really forced to shoot it. They are forced to shoot it if there's also a smoke here. So they're smoked off and mollied off, these players are. And so if you throw a wingman in, they're forced to shoot it themselves, which means that they give away where they are, basically. And you can swing off it as well. You don't have to wallbang that at that point. You can swing and get the kill potentially there too. When it comes to, okay, that's pretty much it for that. So I'm going to move on to like what it looks like from backside. So on backside, there's this, which is very similar to the one. And you can throw it from this wall. Just bear in mind that if someone is there, they will have a very easy time wallbanging you if you try to retrieve it. So you do it behind this solid wall because they can't wallbang you while you retrieve it. So you can technically get more like stuff seen over here, but I would always do the safer one if possible. If this is going to be a relevant dizzy, then they can probably wallbang you from here. So I'll be very, very careful. The mosh you can do, you want to jump and then wait until you're about to hit the ground, basically, and then throw this, and it should go in this choke point. Once again, same idea with the other one we threw. You want to try and get it so then they come through with a smoke, ideally here, from your team, and you can get the free kill on this person here, as they're kind of like isolated from their team using the molly. You can also do a wingman like this, so when someone like makes contact over here, you can throw this wingman to pressure them and fight them. Unfortunately, very rarely is there going to be a smoke that will stop you from dying super deep, unless maybe you can ask for a cipher cage or something. Or maybe they smoke it themselves or something. I don't know. Very rarely do they smoke this themselves, though. It's usually going to be a cipher cage that you'll have to ask for if you want to do that. Or something like that. Or maybe you have to ask for a normal smoke or something as well. But yeah, that's kind of it for like defending B. There is some more aggressive plays you can do, such as like being over here, ready to trap play with a teammate. So the teammate is going to like maybe be spotting here, like somewhere here. But that initially be aggressive. Walk up here and spot like this. And then you can dizzy for them over here. And unfortunately, because of this, you can't really... You can just about get here, but it's so risky because of how fast they can get there. That with you, like... Maybe it's because I'm not used to the angle, maybe. Because these people will have a bit of an advantage because they don't really have to worry about, like, the edge of the map where you do. So you can actually get a decent angle on this, but just be careful because you have very limited options for how you can play this. And you have to just go back. That's so basically what I mean. So if it wasn't clear on that, what I mean is that the player will, you'll have a teammate jump spotting here, or like just like spotting here, or like waiting for contact. You can flash like this, and then you can hold this for your teammate. So then that means they can fight off the dizzy and not have to worry about someone swinging like this. Okay, then we move on to the post plant of B. So this is where I'm not playing B and I'm retaking. So usually I opt into going tower first, more so than like through the like this area. I'm not sure what it's even called. Like, I think people call it like library or something, or book or something. I don't know what people call bookshelf. Call this. I don't know. Generally people, like even though I do play here on defense, I don't think it's actually that good for Gekko on retake. I think this area is slightly better because you can throw a dizzy like this and it like detects like people that could be in like these sort of corners or like in here or something, which I think is a bit more valuable to detect than throwing a dizzy over here, which tends to get a lot more general info when this one tends to get a bit more tutored info, and that tends to be a bit better to do than to just get like random info, basically random broad info. Because when you're with post plant or just taking areas in general, because it's very, very situational where players have like pushed up to, where the enemy could be, all that type of stuff, it's really, really important to consider your like how you're going to use your flash rather than like me just giving you like lineups and things, right? So the main thing with Dizzy on post plant is to make sure that you're using him as either an info tool for like close range, which also may double as a kill flash, or you're going to be using it as like you're going to be using it either as an info flash, a kill flash, or both, right? Wingman generally on post plant you want to be saving him for the defuse, but it's not always the case. Like 99% of the time, it's probably better for him to defuse because the alternative for Wingman is not like use a gun, right? You're basically freeing up a teammate or freeing up yourself to defuse at the same time as having your gun out. So it's really, really important to have him on defuse most of the time. Sometimes there are very, very fringe cases where you want him to clear space instead. And that usually is going to be early in the retake. So then you can pick up the Wingman again and then get him on the plant again, or like get him onto defuse at the end of the round, basically. And then Mosh is just going to be used when you want to flush people out of like corners, right? Like this, for instance, right? Use it like that, and then they can't stand in there, right? And if it goes off, and we know that they didn't go out either side, then it means that that was clear, right? And there you go. That's like the simple, that's the simple premise of your abilities here. And we haven't talked about it all yet because you don't really use it when the enemy team is coming to your site. But generally with the Thrash, the important thing is to just make sure you clear things. It's very much similar to Skydog. And on post plant, you don't have that much time to pick him up and then use him again. It's different for Wingman because Wingman, when you pick him up and then use him again, you're usually using it to defuse. But with Thrash, if you haven't got all the info, or if you need to disarm someone, the odds are you need to spend more time to then punish them after using the Thrash on them. So the second use of Thrash in post, you might not have enough time to do. It depends on, obviously, as well, if you can put Wingman on defuse and then go to kill the person disarmed, or go pressure the person disarmed while Wingman defusing. And like, once again, there's a lot of situations there that to go over, so I'm not going to go over all of them. But the pathing for Thrash could be something like this, where you're going to see quite a lot of people, right? And you're going to see all of like backside basically. And that's pretty much it for post plant B. We're going to go on to mid now. So mid, very rarely do I play mid. The one time I do play mid sometimes is some very situationally on pistol. If I think that my teammates are going to get more value on B and A than I personally will in some capacity, and I don't really add to what they want to do, then I will play mid. You can also go this side as well, and you have this dizzy. I would not do this dizzy. Because this dizzy tends to suck, because if he gets shot midway through, it's going to land here, which is unretrievable. So you might as well just jump spot, basically. Okay, so for defense on A, the main thing that I usually do on this, whenever I play A, and I'm like defending A and not going aggressive in any way, then I'm going to play like this. I'm going to be sitting behind here and doing this dizzy. I think is the best option you have as like straight up defending. For the most part though, going aggressive in A main is probably better. A lot of the time, you're going to have a smoke here from one of your teammates. Playing close and going aggressive early on, going aggressive with this smoke can be a really good option. So you know that they're here. The smoke goes down early to like prevent them from like moving forward. And then like maybe one or two teammates you have, where you can both go into the smoke and then you can flash it. But that is a decent play that you can make. You did good. Usually better in like more lower risk rounds, or like lower buy rounds, like pistols or like ecos, that kind of stuff. That tends to be like the type of play that you would make. That's the type of play you can make. You can also just do straight up really aggressive plays like this, for your teammates to take the full of A main. Just bear in mind, like if it goes wrong, and if you choose the wrong time to do this, your dizzy's gone. So you want to make sure you choose the right time to go in at the right. You choose the right time to make this play. Something else you can do as well is over here by this box. You can throw a dizzy like this, and it will just like stop them from coming in from the choke point. So yeah, it's pretty good. You can also just like free throw them probably as well and get similar results as well. Similar results, not always the best. Usually the reason why lineups are better is because they tend to be 100% or 99% of the time you get the lineup right, rather than over here I'll probably get it right like 95% generously 95% of the time I'll get it right. Maybe less, probably less, 90%. But yeah, so that's really it for defending A. I don't really do too much over on A. A lot of the time it's very situational with aggressive pushes, and I don't really play A overall to defend it, because I don't think Gekko's really that good at defending this portion of the map, compared to B at least in my experience. So for post plant A, usually you're going to go over here, because you tend to have a pretty good line with the dizzy over here for an info dizzy on post plant, which is pretty good. You can also throw things like moshes through as well, which can get like, okay, ideally you want it to be on the other side of the wall, so I threw it wrong. And you can just like clear out areas like this, right? If anyone's going to be on the top bit on an off angle, you can get rid of that potential off angle. There you go. That's kind of it as well. Molly's over here. Once again, it's very similar to with Dizzy as well. It's talking about like you want to kill flash, you want to info flash, that kind of stuff, right? If you know where they are, you can kill flash them. If you don't know where they are, info flash. Like it's very similar, very easy, like that. Wingman on defuse. There are also like two pathings for your ult as well. You can do one from CT. And the reason why you want to do this one is because they're taking all of the site. And so usually, to be honest, you wouldn't even get that far. If they're taking all the site, usually you'd run into someone over here or over here. But yeah, that's when you want to ult from CT. If they haven't taken as much of the site, then usually it's better over here. Because you don't have to do this pathing back here like this, which I think is a bit awkward. But you can do if it's like by surprise, basically. And you're already here and you need to like do your ult now, basically, for the time. So Otherwise, if they're not backside, then this one can get a lot more value with detaining people like in main, giving yourself more time to get potential defuse down because one less gun or maybe multiple less guns and that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it for post plant on A, and that's it for defense. So we're going to go on to attack. Okay, so on attack, I think it's important to go over the main reason why Gekko is strong, and that's usually lies in like the cooldowns of Wingman and Dizzy. And I'm not just talking about the low cooldown, because it is a low cooldown, and that's probably the main impactful part of Dizzy and Wingman. But one of the more lesser known parts, lesser appreciated parts about Gekko's kit is that Wingman and Dizzy have the same cooldown, and that means that you can synchronize them together, right? That's actually been a very, very big thing throughout Valorant's history, is that syncing abilities together on the same timings is really, really strong. It's the reason why we had, maybe not exactly the reason why we had it, but it was one of the reasons why one of the comps was so strong. I think it was Silver Sky Omen on Haven was the main one, where they all had 30-second cooldown abilities, right? So you could use a smoke, a dart, and a bird all at the same time, and then you could do the same thing in 30 seconds. That's an important thing to note with Gekko, because he has that internally to his kit, where you can use your Wingman and your Dizzy at the same time, and have them back up again at the same time. So he has like internal synergy that way. So for taking A main, we could do things like this, which is really good, right? What actually happens is that we can swing this with these two things, with my Dizzy and my Wingman, and there's 3 things for the enemy to shoot at, right? So there's a lot of problems that it can cause for them, and especially if you're doing this with teammates involved as well, they're gonna have sensory overload and probably just leave without actually trying to get anything, unless it's maybe like a jet or a chamber or something. So really, really important to note when you're playing Gekko is that you want to be able to sync the abilities, because as well, you pick them up and then you can go do the same again in 10 seconds, or what, like 10 seconds after picking them up. So then you can go plant, so you can send Wingman out to plant, and then you can Dizzy out with him and then run out onto site as well. So you've got literally like a lot of value, a lot of pressure in just one agent, basically, which is really, really good. And that's kind of generally, honestly, that's like the really basic premise of how to take A, and really how to take any site on Gekko. Here's a lot more nuance than that, especially on other maps where there's a lot more space taking, other than the mains. Because on this site, on this map, it's very much take a main, take the site on this map. But on other maps, it's a lot more it can be a bit more complicated. If you are worried about committing the Wingman and the Dizzy, and you're not intending to take the space necessarily, then you just, if you want to get the info, you're just going to commit the Dizzy instead of the Wingman, and the Wingman. You're going to do just the Dizzy, and there you go. That's basically all you're going to do if you're not really going to take the space. But bear in mind that Gekko does really want to take the space that he's using util in. It's also really crucial as well that something's lesser known about Gekko, or like people don't really think about, is that when Gekko is taking space and you're on defense and you're hearing his util go off, he's most likely going to be on the strong side of his team, because he wants to be able to reclaim his utility. So if you do hear a Gekko on attack taking somewhere, it's usually going to be the bulk of his team doing that. So yeah, just something to bear in mind. And also something to bear in mind on attack as well for us as Gekko players, that we can use that to our advantage, and we can just basically send Dizzy in to die on the weak side for like potential rotations to happen, or like lesser rotations or like half rotations to happen, because they assume that that Gekko's on the strong side. That probably does not help very many players, to be honest, in like most elos, because they probably won't read into that. But in higher elos, they'll read into that. There are some other things as well we can do, such as a mosh in backside. You can also bounce one off the wall here. So you just want to throw it against the yellow if possible, like this, and it should land right in the corner like this. So you just want to like jump throw it off the yellow, this yellow strip on the wall. It should land in the corner. It's pretty good. And then the thrash. So the thrash pathing, there's 2 paths that you can do. There's one that you're just going to do for taking the site, which is this one. And it takes everyone on site. Make sure you bunny hop as much as possible to make it as hard to kill as possible. And if you want it to be in a reclaimable position, then just don't go around this corner. Just sit over here instead. And it might be reclaimable if you want to actually go onto site. If you want to like do like a half clear, and then like re-hit later on, or go back to B or something, then you can do something like this. So you look left, look right, look right, look left is what I meant to say. So you clear both of these, and then you can either then you want to cut same for 30 seconds, or you want to rotate or something like that, right? So you would reclaim it and then cut send, and then it's very unlikely that the enemies will retake these corners, right? So they'll probably still be clear by the time you want to go out again. So, but when you want to go out again, you'll just use Thrash anyway and re-clear those corners. And if someone did walk into those corners, they're free kill basically. And then you would clear the side again. So you can do things like that as well, which can be really, really strong. And that's pretty much taking A. On post, for the most part, I'd recommend playing main more, especially if you still have Mosh, because it means you can use it for post plant. You can do one there, or you can do one all the way back over here, or bridge. Oh, die again. Bro, that's why the Abyss walls are like lethal. Whenever I like accidentally unclip on them, it lands here. Whenever I accidentally unclip on them, I just insta die. It is what it is. And that's it for like how you're gonna play post. A lot of the time, I play main. But you can play on site. It is fine. Just make sure you like matching the energy of your teammates. Like match the aggression of your teammates. Like if your teammates want to go aggressive and play super aggressive, it might be better to match those. But if they end up playing a bit more defensively, then you want to play main. Yeah, okay, so that should be the post plant on A. So we'll go over onto attacking mid. So attacking mid, I very rarely like do huge amount in mid. Like mid on Abyss isn't that great for like team-wide push or anything. But there is this Dizzy here which we can do, which is kind of decent. And basically just clears everything, and then like clears out everything on this line, which is pretty good. And then you can go retrieve it, which is great too. And then you can just sit here and hold if you want to for like 10 seconds, and then your teammates can decide what they want to do, right? If they want to go through here, I recommend you go back early and come back all the way through here, to then break this and send Wingman through. Because Wingman's really good at this area, so that's pretty good. So he literally fully clears this area, right? And then you can use Dizzy to clear this. That's one way you can do it. It very rarely happens, to be honest. And also you can go this way as well. Using Wingman to clear it once again. You can also send Dizzy through with him, as we've already discussed on attack. A lot for the enemy to deal with. But generally these plays aren't that good. I would recommend doing them like ecos or like bonuses and that kind of stuff. Next is B. Okay, so finally we're on attacking B, and when we're attacking B, you can do the same thing as what we do in A. However, I would say the Wingman is largely not needed in this specific area. The reason for that is because the Wingman very rarely will get value here, because very rarely do they actually go in a place like this where the Wingman's actually going to do something. They're much more prefer taking areas, or taking like they're more likely to contest the B main from this area, or like from over here with like an operator or something. They're not really going to be like in the face and ready to get hit by a Wingman, and therefore will feel pressured by it. Dizzy is a bit different. Dizzy can like pressure people that are like trying to take these types of angles, like this or this. So it is different for Dizzy. So I would just use Dizzy here, to be honest. You don't really have to commit the Wingman that much over here. And then when you get up to sight, you can throw the Wingman over here, Dizzy onto sight. Or you can do Wingman over here, Dizzy onto sight. There you go. And then there's also an execute molly over here, which we can do, which is on this ridge here, on the corner. Just jump through, and it should land in back sight.
Right there.
Nice. Beautiful. It also fully covers backside, as you can see here. So it means that they have to get out of backside if they're there. Otherwise they die. The other thing I want to show as well is Thrash. So the Thrash pattern you can do is usually this one. You either go this way and detonate here. And usually you do that if you know your teammate, or you've communicated to your teammate, or the teammate has communicated to you, or they've been doing this over the course of the game, that they path over here in some capacity. Either they like updraft dash onto it, or they like set race satchel onto it. That's going to be the path you're going to do for that. Or you're going to do the more default path. The path you're more likely going to do is this one. And ideally, you either detonate onto a Cypher or whoever's playing backside here, or you just check it, they're not playing there, and you move it back into this position where you can retrieve it more safely. That's pretty much it for attacking B. If we're going to post plant though, if the bomb is planted there, we can do the line up over here, which is we're going to aim at this corner and jump through. And it should land on top. Right there. And also land, like, bleed down into the actual plant. There you go. The other one, I think, as well. I can't quite remember this one, so you might have to bear with me. Ooh, you might have to bear with me. I think you go up to this lamp, and then you aim at this here. I think so. Jump through. I'm pretty sure it lands on the plant, but I could be wrong. I'm right. Okay, no, so I got it right first time. But yeah, that's it. That's it for the post plan over there as well. There's also one as well. The problem is with that one, is that so this I don't actually use this one that much. The reason why is because I have to go all the way over here to then contest the plant, and you can see that takes forever. And also I can get contested any point over here. So instead I use a different one, and what I do is I aim for being underneath this line, and then I aim here and jump through, and it should land here and cover the plant. Okay, it actually landed in a slightly different position, so I threw it a bit wrong there. But yeah, that's still fine. It still hit the plant. That's the most ideal thing, is that we want it to hit the plant. So that's what I do for post plant, because what it does is it just puts me in a position where I can still contest the plant afterwards. I don't have to go on like a marathon just to like get over to the plant. Okay, so that's it for the guide. I did a lot of rambling in this guide, so hopefully it was comprehensive and you understood some things. If you didn't, then feel free to put in some comments, ask some questions. That's completely fine. If you enjoyed and you want to see more, like, subscribe. That always helps me out and I appreciate it a lot. And I'll see you in my next one.